used to make do, so now I make two and give one to you. Till your luck break through. Break bread like we did in grade school. I stay grateful for every plateful. Sit at my table, get some great food.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty, and Matt Moore is joining me. He is our our cryptocurrency expert here in the great state of Oklahoma. He's all the way in Tulsa, though, right?
Yep, that's
right.
fair.
Okay, and I want to show your book, Foundations for Liberty. I've actually read it. This is a bestseller on Amazon, so you guys need to check this out. A lot of you in the audience, I'll get messages from you about cryptocurrency, about various coins like Bitcoin, and I am not an expert. Like wherever the expert is, I am so far on the other end of that. I'm just Matt is the person to talk to about this, and his book is fantastic, and it actually talks about fiat currency and all the big picture, really, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, because people got to know the problem before they know the solution.
Yeah, speaking of the problem, here on page 47, the nature of government is to grow. That and the end. That's
yes,
what
absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. I thought it'd be interesting to have you on because there's been a lot of activity in the cryptocurrency world, hasn't there?
Absolutely, and it's only going to continue to get better. I mean, this is literally just the beginning. So I don't know what you've been watching or what kind of questions you're getting from people, but I'd be more than happy to answer any of them that might be coming in.
Yeah, of course, I still get the I don't understand cryptocurrency thing, and I know that's a whole. We need to do it. We need to do another show on that. We actually a while back, for those of you that didn't see it, Matt did an entire show talking about this topic, and we need to plan that again for January if we can.
Sure.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So one thing that's developing right now that's super interesting that people need to be aware of is due to the cycles of Bitcoin, we go through these 4-year processes. And in these 4-year processes, we go through what they call a halvening, where the newly minted supply of Bitcoin gets cut in half. And so that really drives a supply and demand economics. And especially when you have a lot of adoption growing. And when I say adoption, I mean, I'm not talking about just retail adoption. This next bull market that we're entering into is going to be fueled primarily by institutions, publicly traded companies buying this and putting it on their balance sheet as a reserve asset. You've even got central banks that are buying it now and holding it as a store of value. So we truly are coming through this evolution phase of where Bitcoin is now becoming a digital store of value. And so the upside, I mean, we're still at the very beginning of this, of the adoption curve. People who are in it now, I would classify as still early adopters, and the analogy that I make all the time is it's 1994 and people just starting to hear about the internet and email. So that's kind of where we're at in the space. But the thing that I think people need to be aware of and they need to consider is we are through this next bull market in price discovery. We are going to have huge upside potential, huge upside runs, but we're also going to have 20%, 30% corrections along the way. But I am fully confident that by the end of 2021, we will be making probably towards the top of this, getting towards the end of this bull market cycle. So we've got a really solid year and a half going into this. That's going to be a great and exciting time. And we are truly having a supply shock on Bitcoin. The adoption is growing. Just to give you some headlines, some examples, PayPal not only made cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin available to all their 300 plus some odd million users, but they as a company are buying 70% of the newly minted Bitcoin, and so that's really having an effect on the price. I mean, you have other big corporations and financial institutions that are buying this. Michael Saylor, he's the CEO of MicroStrategies. It's a publicly traded company. He went full on bull and bought $500 million worth of Bitcoin to put on as a reserve asset for their company, because he was like, look, I've got $500 million of cash that I'm sitting on, and it's a melting ice cube. It's like Bitcoin's going to be the fastest horse in the race, and he's not the only guy that's been saying that. Plenty of other Wall Street legends have been saying that. Citibank came out with their own report saying by the end of 2021, Bitcoin could easily be at $300,000 a Bitcoin. You've got JP Morgan that is telling you, what's that? I could go on. I mean, tell me when and where.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's crazy. I mean, it's just, it's insanity. And I think that some of us, I always fall back onto like the stock market analogy, and it's not really like that, but it's kind of like that in a way. But trying to get people to understand exactly what it is a challenge. Something I want to ask you about, Matt, is one of the questions that I get is, I'm new to this, what should I buy and how much?
Sure.
Now, the thing that I always tell people on the how much aspect is you never, as with the stock market, I mean, you don't invest more than you can afford to lose just because that's a good rule of thumb. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. There's no guarantees. But if you can afford to risk $100 a month or $500 a month and invest that in cryptocurrency of some sort, then do that if that's what you think you can do. But what do you recommend if somebody says, okay, I can start out with a couple $100 or $500 a month, and I know this is not financial advice, so let's say if you were just now getting into it, what would you do with that few $100s a month?
So I would dollar cost average in. If you're getting, that's actually a great strategy. Dollar cost averaging in on a regular basis, whether it's weekly, monthly, biweekly, and doing money that's not going to jeopardize or put you at a stretch when you're trying to pay for bills. This is just excess money that you're going to be using for investing, or even saving, because saving dollars is actually not wise at all. And I could go into that and tell you why, but I'll leave that for another day. But I would tell people, if you can't sleep comfortably at night due to the volatility of price discovery within Bitcoin going up and down, even though in the course of its 11, 12 years of history, even though it is volatile, it makes higher lows and higher highs. So it is on a upwards trajectory. And once you understand the monetary system, which I highly recommend anybody do, when you start learning about this technology and you start learning about the monetary system, if you're going to be investing in anything, you need to do your own due diligence and start reading and learning about it, because the more equipped that you are, the more knowledgeable that you are, the better decisions that you're going to be able to make for you and your family and your family's future.
Yes, that is so true. And I want to remind everyone, I know this is just a short segment and there are tons of questions, and I try to direct people to you all of the time when they contact me with these questions, which is crazy because I'm not the person, there's lots of things I know a lot about. This is one that I'm just a novice. But I want to remind everyone about your book and where they can get it. Foundations for Liberty by Matthew J. Moore is on Amazon, and it is a bestseller in more than one category, so make sure that you check that out. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience, Matt? About the current market conditions for crypto? Sure. Or anything.
Well, how much time do we got? I guess that's a better question to ask.
I think we've got about 2 minutes, I think.
All right. Well, one thing that I would encourage anybody to do when it comes to your finances, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to give you financial advice, but I am going to tell you what I'm doing. And I know that the government, the only game plan that they have is more quantitative easing, more stimulus, more debt. Just to put this into perspective, the reason why so much money is going into cryptocurrency, and money will be going into gold and silver too. We will see significant price rises in that as well. But the reason why that's happening is because the value of the dollar is being transferred into assets like cryptocurrency, which have future application. Things like gold and silver, because it's a store and preservation of wealth. Just to put this in perspective, 1776 to 1996, the first 220 years of America, the entire debt was $5 trillion. In just 1 year, in 2020, we've added $5 trillion. This is a exponential hockey stick growth in government debt. And the Fed chairman has come out and said, hey, we're a long ways away from recovery, and we need to do a whole lot more, and it's not time to worry about the fiscal state of the U.S. government. This is going to be a life-changing moment for all of us. This is going to be a life-changing moment that'll define the next 100 years. We are going to go through crazy economic and monetary times that are going to define a generation. So learn, buy my book, ask me who to listen to, who to go to, what are some resources. I'd be happy to point you in the direction, because your time, your energy, and your wealth are very important, and your freedom, and money is a representation of that.
Oh, yes, that's so true. All right, and let's tell them where they can find you.
You can go to mattjmoore.com, or you can go to cryptomore.com, and that's more with 2 O's.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. We could definitely do an entire show on this, and I plan to soon. So we need to plan that. Okay.
Absolutely, would love to.
All right. Thank you for joining me today, Matt. And for the audience, I'll be right back.